First one, what is a major myth about beer?
Well, I think the most common myth about beer intake is that that's about the beer belly, that you get abdominal obesity if you're drinking beer. And, it's not really scientifically substantiated, because all the studies that have looked at the waist circumference and the beer belly and its association with beer intake can actually not find that up to a certain amount of intake that there's no association. And it means that a moderate beer intake of 1 to 2 a day is not associated with the beer belly. But we can also see that what is causing this beer belly is actually smoking, cigarette smoking, and lack of physical activity and mental stress. So it's probably what is really causing it. But in people, they were observing that those who were sitting and drinking beer every day at the bar, that it was probably due to the beer, but they were also smoking and they were very sedentary. So that is probably the reason.
What about beer, so continuing beer and body weight?
It is so that beer, of course, contains calories, and it means that the calories, whether it's from beer and wine, is part of the energy balance. But if we look at the research, we cannot really see that among women. It doesn't really seem to add on top of the calories, which suggests that beer might actually and wine might have some satiety effect among women. Whereas with males, it looks like up to about 400 milliliters per day is quite neutral. So you need to go above that, then you could start to see that it might affect body weight.
Moderate beer consumption does not affect body weight, but what about the effects on type 2 diabetes risk?
It's quite obvious that this is really an important question if you can promote type 2 diabetes by drinking alcohol. But it really looks like it's the opposite. And so all the evidence shows that a moderate beer consumption will actually do the opposite. It seems to reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And it goes hand in hand with a reduction in type 2 diabetes and reduction in cardiovascular disease. So generally, it's not increasing, it's actually seems to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. And for those who already have developed type 2 diabetes, they can actually still go on having 1 or 2 drinks according to the limits, because beer will not affect their blood sugar at all, and will actually not have any adverse effect on diabetes. Actually, it also looks like that a moderate beer consumption will reduce their risk of cardiovascular disease, which is it's even more important if you have type 2 diabetes, if you don't have a type 2 diabetes. So it seems to be beneficial for the diabetics. Yeah. It's also a very important part of their quality of life. We have tended to be very restrictive to the type 2 diabetics about what they could eat and drink. And today we know, for example, they can easily eat cheese and have a beer and eat eggs. It doesn't really affect their risk or their diabetes at all.